Right now there's a lot of pressure built around the athletic world, and especially youth sports. A lot of the injuries that we see today are due to overuse injuries.
My name is Sarah Clapper, and I was born and raised in Louisville, Ohio, a small town near Canton. And from as long as I can remember, my passion is sports. I tried every sport, from volleyball, soccer, softball, track, cheerleading, you name it, I tried it. But my heart always has belonged to gymnastics. My dream was to go to college for gymnastics, and unfortunately that dream was put on pause when I sustained some back injuries my freshman year of high school. So I went through treatment about 3 hours a week for about a year, and then was given the okay to go back. And I went back more determined and more ready than ever to achieve my dreams of going to college for gymnastics. Fortunately, after a year into it, I was forced again to quit because the injuries came back. I was devastated because I knew this time that I was done.
Athletics have become such an all-year-round proposition, starting at such a young age, that any injury is too many, and anything that we can do, we've got to make sure we're doing all of the above.
A lot of the injuries can be prevented due to proper education, which is one of the reasons why Positive Strides is focusing in on providing educational injury prevention and nutritional seminars, not only to the athletes, but also to the parents, to the coaches, and school administrators, so that they understand the signs and symptoms, what to look for in an injury.
The hardest part was that I wanted to turn to someone who knew what I was going through, but none of my friends had to give up their sports. They were still playing. My parents, sports were important, but they weren't their entire world. When I was no longer in gymnastics, I could no longer associate myself with being the gymnast, and I had to figure out who Sarah Clapper was.
The interesting thing about student athletes, that I coached at the college level for 36 years and professional 1 year, and the reality of both of those was that there was going to be a day when they weren't going to be playing, so it was going to end. What they were doing at the moment was their sport, but that they certainly needed to be preparing themselves for the rest of their lives where they wouldn't be performing. The only real discouraging times that you found as a coach was that when you were struggling to convince the person that they could be a lot more than just the athlete.
I had to pick myself up and figure out what I was going to do with my life. And my senior year of high school, I realized that I wasn't going to receive any athletic scholarships, so I started looking for a way to earn money for college. I became a gymnastics coach, and that was a way that I could fill the void that gymnastics had sort of left. And I realized that just because I wasn't the one competing didn't mean that I couldn't still be passionate about gymnastics.
Your self-worth is not determined on your athletic success. Part of my lesson through Positive Strides is letting them know that regardless of what your situation is, you can still lead a successful and positive lifestyle.
We would tell our young people all the time that your sport is what you do, and it's not who you are. And we talked constantly about the fact there are certain things that define who you are, and none of them happen to be a part of your sport.
It's all about education. It's about teamwork and learning different life skills that are going to allow you to be successful later on in life.
I didn't have the benefit, but I would so encourage other athletes to use Positive Strides as a resource. If they're facing injuries and they want to get back up on their feet, reach out to Positive Strides. They're there to help, and encourage other athletes to know that there's someone who is going through what you're going through, and tell them that Positive Strides is there to help.
When you go through an injury, whether you're in high school or in college alone, by yourself, it does take a toll on you mentally and physically. Positive Strides is here to help you in any way that we possibly can, whether that's streamlining access to doctors, providing financial assistance, or just being there. Being the the difference maker, somebody that can relate to the injuries and not just be a doctor or your parents where it's black and white. We try to connect with you on a personal level because everybody at Positive Strides has suffered an injury, severe injury, and we're here to be an additional resource for all of the athletes around the country.
While I was also looking for scholarships, I stumbled upon the Miss America organization, and through that organization, I've been able to inspire others to learn to not allow sports to define who they are. And that's where I am today, is trying to spread my message of the sports are not who you are, they're what you do. And when they're taken away, it doesn't mean that you're no longer involved or you can't be involved, but you have to learn to define yourself by who you are and not allow that sport to define you. For athletes that are facing a career-ending injury, or if the scholarship never materialized, you have to be able to understand that there's more to life than what you think life is about right now. Down the road, you might look back and you'll realize that that moment when everything seemed to end, when the whole world was crumbling, it was really opening a door for a new opportunity. And so it's almost exciting now looking back that all of these new opportunities have been opened that weren't there.